Hi everyone. I had to pull over because I just wanted to relay this message. My heart has been a little heavy because I'm the type of person that I am adamant about serving the Lord to the best of my abilities. And I am doing everything in my power to do just that. But I was having thoughts. He was talking to me. I'm driving without the music on purpose because I want to hear from him. So I'm getting a message that when the Lord gives you an instruction, no matter what that may be, it's imperative that you listen to what the Lord says. It doesn't matter if you belong to a church and your pastor says one thing, if you're a married couple and your husband, your wife says something to you. It doesn't matter if you're in a relationship with your boyfriend or girlfriend. If you get an instruction, a direct message from the Lord, it is very important that you listen to the instruction of the Lord. Because if you don't listen to the Lord, the instructions that you're listening to, then that means you're not a follower of the Lord. You're a follower of that person that you're listening to. If you can allow someone else to override what the Lord gave you, especially if you were adamant and you know without a shadow of a doubt that that message that you heard came from the Lord, and you purposefully allow someone else to tell you to do something else and you follow that person, then you have willfully sinned against the Lord. And you might as well not call the Lord your follower of Christ. You might as well say, I'm a follower of said person who you listen to their instruction. Because I can recall, I no longer attend this church, but I would get messages from the Lord and I would relay it to the pastor. And I can recall adamantly, vehemently, he would be like, oh, the Lord didn't give me that message or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, because he gave it to me. And I would see exactly what the Lord was saying. The Lord would give me a download, a message. I would listen. I would be like, okay. And then when I would do what the Lord told me and not what the pastor said, he would be like, oh, you're being disobedient. And I'm like, no, I may be I may be disobeying you as the pastor. You may look at it as that, but I am obeying the Lord. I'm not doing anything wrong here because the Lord gave me a message. I hear clearly from the Lord, and the Lord told me to do ABC, and you're telling me to do XYZ, and the Lord's like, no. So I'm going to do what the Lord says, whether you like it or not. Pastor, no pastor, I don't care. I am the one that is getting the message. I am the one that needs to obey this message. Because back in Jesus's time, and even before Christ, that when they didn't do what the Lord said, that the Lord would kill them off with their heads. Like they could be walking down the street and boom, they can get eaten by a lion or something like that. Like when they disobeyed and stepped out of the will of the Lord, they kind of got killed almost like immediately. The whole earth would open, their families and everybody, their cattle, all their animals would go in with them, down with them in the earth. And I just say this to say, I say that to say this, like, listen, if you are a person, even if you're just beginning to know the Lord and you're just finding your way in this world, in this walk, then, and you're hearing from the Lord and you know without a shadow of a doubt that that's the Lord, listen to the Lord. People are going to be upset with you. That's okay. Let them. Because a lot of people are upset with me because they're like, oh, she's so hard to deal with. She don't listen. She's disobeying. I'm not disobeying anybody. I'm obeying the Lord. You're not my Lord. You are not God. You're not my Lord. I am doing his will. And it may be opposite of what you want, but I'm doing what the Lord told me to do. I ain't doing what you told me to do. I ain't serving man. I'm serving the Lord. You're not my God. The Lord is. And so when I am getting a message from the Lord, I have always followed the Lord. Even when I didn't know the Lord, I would always follow the Lord. I would always follow that still voice that's inside of me. And people would get so upset with me. And right now, the Lord has separated me from a lot of folks. He's even removed me from this pastor in this church that I was a part of, because I tell you no lie, the pastor kept coming against me because, I would, listen to the Lord. And he kept saying, well, I got 20 years in here and I did this and I got that and I got all these books and this, that, and other. And he was trying to kind of like belittle me and make me feel like, I'm not, qualified or capable, because He's been in the ministry longer than I have. He got all these books behind him, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. Do not insult my intelligence. And I know who the Lord is in me. The Lord gives me visions. I got a clear vision that if I would have stayed with this said person, that I would have busted hell wide open. I can adamantly see, like clear as day. I was sitting there. I got a vision. The Lord told me to not be a part of that church. So I said, okay, I'm going to leave, right? But the Lord was telling me to do it like right now. And I kept saying, yeah, I'm going to do it. But I was like, I was going to wait until the week that the church started so I can tell them I'm not coming back. But the Lord was like, no, now. And I can clearly remember sitting there. I was on my bed. I was sitting at the edge of the bed, and I was just talking to the Lord, and I was watching TV, and I got a vision, literally, and I saw myself in hell. It was like this fiery furnace, and I saw like a silhouette, but it was of me. I could see me. It was like a silhouette of me, and I could just see, it was like I was levitating, but I was in a pit of fire. It was just like nothing but fire surrounding me. I was all over, all surrounded by fire, and I just kept looking because I was levitated, and I'm looking like, oh my gosh, and then it went away, and I said, oh my goodness, I said, the Lord ain't playing. So I said, okay, I'll do it tomorrow, right? I was supposed to do it at that moment. I kept saying, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. So he would not. When I tell you, I could not sleep. I tossed and turned. My spirit was so uncomfortable. I was agitated. And I was like, okay, finally, let me just go and do what I got to do, And so I finally let him know I cannot, I have to leave the church. I can't come back. This is the end of the road for me. And he was like, oh, you was a great student, all this, all that, or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I bet I was. I was like, yeah, but you were trying to box me up. And the Lord was like, no, you got to spread your wings. I couldn't let him, because I was starting to feel like claustrophobic. I started feeling smothered. And I knew without a shadow of a doubt that the Lord told me what he told me, and I had to listen. And I can guarantee you, if I would have stayed, that my life probably would have been all jacked up, and I would have been feeling like I would have busted hell wide open, because I'm sure that a lot of things could have possibly gone wrong within that, but I say that to say this. Listen, if you are a person who knows God, who hears from God, even if you're beginning to hear from God, if he gives you an instruction, it's very important that you listen to that instruction. Don't let no one else tell you otherwise, because you could possibly be setting yourself up to sin against the Lord, and that's not good. It's not okay to willfully, knowingly sin against the Lord and not obey his ministering, because he's telling you something for a reason, and you are supposed to, as a woman or man of God, child of God, you are supposed to listen to the Lord. Don't ever let anybody else, as much as you might love your husband, you love your pastor, you love your best friend or whatever, you have to honestly be obedient to the Spirit of the Lord at all times, because that is sinning against the Lord, and that could set you up for a whole lot of trouble, something that you probably wouldn't want to see yourself going down that direction. And like I said, I had to leave the church because I was feeling smothered. I was he kept on saying I was disobeying, and I'm turning my back on people, and I'm like, listen, I'm going with the Lord said. You may not get the visions. I get visions. You may not get visions. And so if you don't get visions and I do, and the Lord told me something and you're telling me something, and I do what the Lord tells me to do, and you're upset at me because I didn't do what you said, then you're going to have to take that up with the Lord. I'm just, hey, it is what it is. You're going to have to take that up with the Lord, because I'm doing the Lord's work just like you, and the Lord works in me differently, and he works in us all different ways. He may not give you a vision, but you will know, however he deals with you, you'll know that it's the Lord. And it's important for you to follow his will, because if you don't, you can set yourself up for trouble. So I just wanted to let you know that, always be obedient to the will of the Lord. If you don't understand, then ask the Lord for clarity. Ask the Lord for understanding. Just wait. Don't be so hasty to move. Just wait, and then I'm sure he'll give you some type of sign that you'll know that that's the Lord. So I hope this blessed somebody. And I thank you for listening. This is Taisha Angeline. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, and I'm over here driving. I'm in Boston. You see, we got the snow out here. I'm cold. I had to pull over real quickly because I had something on my mind to give you guys. But again, don't forget to, if this message resonated with you, like it, comment, maybe give me a story or something, a testimony about something about you, about hearing from the Lord. Like it. And yeah, until next time, have a blessed day. Peace.